In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the photo bombing project that we're doing on campus for Earth Week. So here is my example of a photo bomb, and I put it outside our classroom door, and it's right next to the little alarm key box right there. And I also took a close-up picture of it, so there it is. So for Earth Week, we want our photo bombs to have some sort of an environmental theme. So in this case, it's me with a watering can, and I'm watering this flower, and the flower is actually the earth. So let's switch over to Photoshop now and take a look at that. So this is what it looks like in color. We're going to be printing these on regular printer paper with our classroom printer, which is only black and white. So color is not an option for this project. So if we take a look at my images, you can see that I have several earths, and I did get these from Google Images, but I did choose copyright-free images that were okay for reuse, so make sure that you do that too to avoid plagiarism. I have two images of echinaceas, which is a type of flower, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 images of me in front of the white backdrop with my hands in various positions because I needed to look like I was holding the watering can, and the watering can is down here at the bottom also. So I had to, I took some, or actually Ms. Holmes took some images of me, and then I went to the computer and I tried them out, and my hands were too far apart or too high up or too low down, so I had to go back, take pictures again. My hands were still too far apart, not quite the right position, so the third time I finally got my hands in just the right spot, my legs in just the right spot, so that when I put the watering can, photoshopped it, it really did look like I was holding the can in my hands. So let's go back and look at Photoshop again. So if we look at this a little closer, if I magnify this, you can see that the Photoshop is, or the watering can is on its own separate layer. So when I turn off the eyeball on the background, you can see that what I did was I just chopped off, erased the part where my hands were, so it looked like my hands were actually holding the watering can. And I had to cut it out with the lasso tool and size it and rotate it to make it look like it fits perfectly in my hands. If we take a look down here at the earth flower, what I did was I had an echinacea and I cut it all out precisely, and then I cut the top part of the flower off and then put the earth on top of it. And then I also cut off part of the bottom of the earth so it would look like it was emerging from the flower. Now, the first earth that I started with was actually this one. And when I printed this, it was really dark and you couldn't really tell that it was the earth. It just looked like a blob. So on the computer screen it looks great, but when you print it, it looks terrible. So then the second one that I did was this one, and I thought, oh yeah, no problem, it's a lot lighter, you can clearly see the continents, this one's going to be really good. So I printed it, couldn't tell what it was, looked like a big blob. So the third time I tried this one, and I think because of the way the continents are positioned and the contrasts of the light and dark, this one actually printed out really well, and this is the one that I ended up using in the end. So the other thing that I did after I printed it was I left paper right here between the end of the watering can and the earth, and I drew in with a black ballpoint pen little drops of water, so it looked like water was coming out of the spout and watering the earth. Part of the reason that this project looks good is because I cut it out precisely. So after I printed it, I cut it out very carefully with scissors, and then I went in with an X-Acto knife and I cut out all these little tiny areas where I couldn't get into them with scissors. If you leave white borders on the image, I think it's just going to look bad, and everyone's going to be able to tell really obviously that it's been cut out. So it's more convincing when you put the time and effort into doing a good job cutting it out. Also doing a good job matching up your items, finding just the right things that go together. I had 2 echinacea flowers. The first echinacea flower I thought was going to be great. I tried it out, I put the earth on it. It actually didn't really look that good. So then I went online, I found another copyright-free echinacea, and that's the one that I ended up using. So if you put the time and effort into not just going with your first draft, if you revise, you try things over again, you're not satisfied with something just looking good enough, you want it to look excellent so that your final project comes out looking very excellent. So the last thing that you need to do is figure out where you're going to put this on campus. Where are you going to kind of hide it and let it surprise people and hopefully draw people in and get them to look at it. So I don't think I was particularly creative in where I placed mine. I will probably take it down and find a better spot for it. Well, I think this is going to be a fun, fabulous project, and I hope you have fun with it too. That's all for now.